tweaked. There we go. All right. And then the PowerPoint. Welcome in, welcome in.
We do have water in the back if you guys want some.
Oh, I might have to take one before we start.
No, I found some internet.
All right, we're doing Flexbox and Grid today. Two tools that will help you design a website in your code more responsive, but also just easier in a way. So let's go with Flexbox first. What is Flexbox? So Flexbox, this is not even recorded, but Flexbox is basically a 1D div container in a way where we can organize any content we have. So let's say it uses parent and child definition. So first we would define the parent, saying, hey, we're going to use Flexbox in this container right now. So, and I'll show you demo code soon. So first, parent, we get define it Flexbox. I'll show you the actual term, but we define it as Flexbox. And then in the child is where we're going to put all the items in it. So like, let's say text, pictures, anything in that sort. So pretend we put some content. Let's say we have some words, a picture, and some more words. The tool will basically help you either center it, left align, right align, put it on the bottom of the container. It basically helps you align without using all the padding, margin, all that BS. So we don't just predict someone's view screen size. So that's kind of how it helps. So again, yeah, why Flexbox? One, it's very responsive. It will move with the window in that container to make it either shrink or go bigger depending on someone's size of screen. Order control. It helps you, instead of, let's say we have a div container with some words, but I want to put this sentence before this sentence. You can actually manipulate that and kind of do it without always tweaking that HTML code all the time. Effortless alignment, like I said, in one command, justify dash content center will make your contents in the center. It will justify dash content left, make it left align, right align, so forth. And we'll learn more about that. And then number one important thing, it will reduce your code. Literally a couple lines, you'll get exactly where you want to be in that container. Instead of, like I said, doing margin 20 pixels and then it's not like centered still, or left 50 pixels. It'll make it so much easier, basically. Where's that clicker on this thing? I'd rather have the clicker on. Is it? No? No clicker today? Alright, it's fine. Alright. So some limitations about Flexbox is that it's one dimension. So you can only have it horizontal or vertical containers, going up, down, or left, right. You can't have it in a 2D where we can, let's say, like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's only one dimension. That's what grid kind of comes into place. Grid is a 2-dimension component where we can put wherever we want the content into a grid. We'll talk about grid a little more. Overuse risk. Same with grid as well. There's times where you can code something simpler than using Flexbox and the grid. So don't go too complicated. If you don't need to use Flexbox, if you don't need to use grid, don't use it. But again, don't overuse it. And also, if you do overuse it, there could be nesting sometimes complicated with nesting. Too much Flexbox you nest, the more harder it gets for your code. So use it wisely. Any questions with that so far? All right. And I have a great activity for us to understand it more. And I'll also give you how we can implement it, which is next. Oh, this is ugly. So let me actually make that a little nicer, because that is ugly. I hope no one, I don't want anyone to think that. So we just understand it a little more. Okay, awesome. All right, it's a little better now. Not gonna go too crazy with it. Okay, cool. So pretend, like I said, this is the parent and child definitions I was talking about. That container would be your parent. It will kind of hold more of the alignment definitions, kind of like defines where we want this text to be. So, like I said, we initialize Flexbox in display :flex. That'll tell the container, hey, we're going to be using Flexbox right now. Flex direction row will be us defining the 1D kind of container. So since it's row, we'll have a Flexbox like this. Now replace row with column, our 1D will be like this. And then everything, actually, I'll go over that. So justify content center, that basically is a definition of, hey, we want everything to be in the center of our Flexbox. Self-explanatory. So let's say I have some words, and I justify that as content as middle. The words will be automatically in the middle, no matter what screen size you have, it'll be in the middle. Same with column, be like this. Align item center, same thing as well. If we, let's say, for example, bad example, honestly, because everything will just be center. Let's say we wanted it to be align items bottom. It will go to the center since justify content, and then the paragraph will go right here to the bottom. It's like an XY situation. Let me make an XY right here. So XY. Every time justify content, justify content will be on the Y, and then align items will be on the X axis. So kind of think about it like that. Now it's a little different. If we're in the column flex direction, same idea, but we kind of turn it a little bit to 90-degree angle. So justify content will be going down, justify content, and an align item will go left, right. So yeah, it gets kind of confusing, but at the same time, just play around with it, and you'll understand it more. But yeah, that's how that works. And then now when we go to the item portion, that's our child. We're going to define flex :1 to say that the items in this content are going to be the items we want to use Flexbox on. Little example is right here. This is how your HTML code will look like. You will have, again, I don't know why it formatted this weirdly. We're going to justify our first. I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do a live because I don't like the formatting at all. Let's open up VS Code. VS Code. Z. This is light work. Here we go. So, let's say our parent We want to, again, justify display to flex. And then we want to have those contents, let's say on the right. We'll put it in the right. And then we want our align items to be on top. And then we go to .child, that's how I'm naming them. We'll say flex, oh, there we go, 1. Awesome. So that's how the code's gonna look for just a simple, very simple, just to demonstrate. We're gonna go to our body. We're gonna first define the div to the parent. Class equals parent. And now under it, we're gonna make a new div. Class equals child. And I'll make 3 of these just so we can see it. Actually, I'm not gonna spoil this yet. All right, we'll have 3 items just so we can see the difference. That's a little too much spacing. Sorry, I get kind of nitpicky now. By OCD now. All right, here we go. Perfect. We're gonna do item 1, item 2, item 3. Now let's preview it. Doesn't look like anything. So technically, actually, this is how we want it. Just doesn't look like. So I did something wrong. This worked when I was doing it. Select content array. This is 0. So everything, oh there, okay, so that kind of looks a lot better. All right, so don't worry about the flex part. So everything is aligned to the right and on the top. So technically, actually, yeah, it was aligned to the top. Just obviously we are already on the top, so it doesn't look like much. But since we put flex 1, this shares, each component is sharing the right amount of distance to each kind of item. That's what flex 1 would do. I just kind of got that confused, I guess, when I was reviewing it. But if I press 0, you can see that all the content's on the right talked how we want it to. If I do left, everything on the left, bottom, and technically, actually, we've never really specified how big this container is. That's kind of why also there's not that much difference when we do bottom. Let's say we want the height to be 50 VH. That's called the view height of a screen. I guess that still doesn't work. All right. Screw me, I guess. Whatever. All right. We'll practice it more. It looks like I need some brush up as well. But yeah, that's kind of how Flexbox works. Helps you align the left better. Where we at? So some properties. Some properties. So we already talked about justify content that aligns the items along the main axis, which is the y-axis, as I say it, distributing extra space. We have flex direction, which defines the x along the flex items are placed. Align items, which we talked about, it will align the items from the top, the bottom, however you guys want it on the container. And then flex wrap, which is kind of the same way as float, just in Flexbox to make it more. I just lost the word. Responsive, to be more responsive. There we go. Now, I really want to get to this practice because this practice is really nice. Some more essentials items. So this is the kind of where you put it in the child. Flex grow will control how much the container will grow in the window. It will control how much it will also shrink if you do flex shrink. So kind of a way how to explain it properly. Again, this is very visual. But let's say I have those, I'm just gonna drop boxes all day, it looks like. Let's say I have them spaced pretty evenly, and I start shrinking this screen, but I want it to end somewhere like right here. You can control that with Flex Shrink. And same with Flex Grow. Let's say I have it like this, but when I want to grow it, I kind of want to still leave some room in the right. Again, Flex Grow will do that. Flex Basis sets the initial main size of the Flex item. Order, that's kind of the manipulating part where I was talking about. Let's say I have a paragraph that I want it to be on the far right, while the second header or paragraph is all the way to the far left. That's how we manipulate it with order. And then align self is what overrides the align, the first align content. Let's say I want all these are separate, spaced equally, but I want the middle one to be on the bottom instead of on the middle. Align self will do that. You'll just have to make another class for that. All right. Any questions with that? I know I'm going a little fast right now. Oh, we're good. Everyone understands in a way? Yeah, perfect. Key takeaways. Again, it's really good to get let's say a nav bar, for example. You'd want to use Flexbox. It's responsive, and yeah, this kind of slide it has really great details, but we've basically gone over it. Flexbox is a great way to align anything in a 1D axis like a nav bar, and it helps you just have a responsive website right off the gate. So quickly, I want to go over a resource that I have, which is a very great resource. It's just search up CSS Flexbox layout guide, or just CSS Flexbox cheat sheet. It'll give you. It's a great website. It has pictures that pretty much describe what Flexbox is in words and pictures. So again, your parent, which is going to be the purple side, is the container, and then the child, which is going to be this orange side, is going to be the items that we can manipulate. So set the display to flex. Flex direction will be the row columns, as you can see. Flex wrap will be, again, same way as we use float, but not really. It just helps you go to the next line. I guess I had that a little wrong. It helps you go to the next line when you start shrinking or growing. So you have let's say you have a picture, 2 pictures right here, but you start shrinking, that picture will just automatically go on the bottom. That's basically what Flex Wrap does.
So like the front page of YouTube with thumbnails.
Yes, that's a great example actually. Let's say when you start shrinking it to like a mobile version, everything starts going down one by one by one. I'm pretty sure if you don't use Flexbox, you start shrinking it, everything will just start turning into one box. If you have any responsiveness in it with media or something. But with Flexbox, I have marker man, keep disappearing. But let's say I have my screen. I have the thumbnails. That's a great example. YouTube actually. I start shrinking that screen's width. This will go on the next line, while these two will still stay there. But let's say we get to this point of the width, this will go even under it. That's kind of what wrap does. And you can also reverse it in the order as well. Flex flow. Never really used Flex flow. This is our hand the default value. Okay, so it looks like it's basically like the same thing as Flex wrap. I never use really Flex flow, so I apologize. But okay, here we go. Justify content. Flex start, everything will start in the beginning. Flex end, all the way to the end. center, space between, we'll give it spaces evenly. Space around, we'll at least give it some margin room, but still everything will be in the center. Space evenly, same way, but you can tweak it with how you do, how we define the child. Align items, again, flex start, we'll go on the top. Oh, that's what I have it wrong. It's not bottom. Okay, it's flex and flex start. My fault. That was definition. But yes, if we want to flex start all the way to the top, flex and everything will be on the bottom. Center, be in the center. Stretch, everything will stretch. Kind of self-explanatory. Again, this is a very great tool, very great cheat sheet. So everyone, please check it out, especially when we start doing the activity. But there we go. Yeah. And then align content will basically have, let's say you have a mass, like a lot of content, like a lot of images in one parent container. Again, it'll start moving it the same way as a line item, but as a group. Oh, here we go. So in the parent, we'll justify the gaps as well. So again, let's say we want to have the content to be all the way on the left, but we still want some gap in between the spaces. That's how we'll define it, is gap colon the pixels you want. Yeah, that's just kind of like some more examples. Gap 30 pixels, we'll have a gap of 30 pixels, but it'll also give you a gap in not just the left and right, but the top and bottom, because don't forget, every content has this like imaginary box. So no, it calculates 30 pixels this way, 30 pixels on the bottom, 30 pixels right, 30 pixels top. So keep that in mind when we start coding that. And then we can get even more technical. Instead of just saying 30 pixels, we can divide it in 2 to 4 ways. So 10 pixels will define the 10 pixels on the top and bottom. And then the 30 pixels, which is the second number, will define it on the left and the right. So yeah. Any questions with that? Perfect. All right, and then for the child, not too much you can do in the child, but again, let's say we want to justify the order. We'll have order importances first, then obviously in a row. So it looks like they have order 1, 1, so that will all go on the left, 2 in the middle. Same thing with columns. Flex grow. Let's say this is actually a better example than kind of what I said, but let's say we can justify, let's say a button. We want it to grow longer when the view is the width is getting longer in the view. We would justify a new content or a new class, flex grow, and that button will start extending or stretching. Same with shrink as well, which we'll see. This is actually such a better example than what I was saying, so sorry if it was a little confusing. But yeah, we'd use it if we want to grow anything, and we'd use the same thing if we want to shrink when we start shrinking.
So like a search bar?
Yeah, like a search bar, exactly. That's a great example too, like a search bar. We want, phones have different lengths, and PCs have different lengths. That's how you can manipulate by going bigger and smaller. All right. Flex. This is
Shorthand for everything.
Yeah, this is the shorthand for everything else. So I was kind of like scrolling, but yeah, it's a shorthand for everything that we just kind of explained. Align self, awesome example. We want 2 contents to be still, or 3 contents to still be in the same aspect of what we said, so justify content align top. But we want the 3rd content to be like, hey, we want it to be weird a little bit. Put it down a little more. We can do flex end by doing that. All right, so that's kind of the cheat sheet. I want everyone to go on this website now. We're gonna spend 20 minutes on this, and I'm gonna walk around and help y'all. It's called flexboxfroggy.com, And I do want y'all to collab, so everyone kind of join a group of 2, and I'll work together, have a discussion about it, and I'll come around and help anyone that needs help. But it's a great tool to understand the Flexbox visually. I know I could probably be a little confusing with how to explain it, and I know I went pretty quick, but I think this Flexbox Froggy made me learn Flexbox a lot. So definitely join a kind of a pair, and let's work together. And yeah, I'll be around. And then we'll spend 20 minutes, and then we'll get into grid. Okay, I want to put some music on. Workable. Get it going, we're getting going. Yeah, something like that. I know some of the terms are kind of, I want to apologize for the terms, I know I messed up on that, but I guess I had something else on my mind. How you doing over there? Good. What level are we on, level 3? Also, I recommend, if you guys really want to challenge, just kind of figure it out, I think there should be a settings button to turn off hints. Obviously, if I explained it too quick and it was a little confusing, use the hints. But I'll be around to help, and I'll like challenges. So that's how we become better coders. Challenge ourselves. Level 3. Do that interview. How does this work for you guys? We have double. Yeah. Yeah, what's up? Yes. Well, it'd be gap technically, but we don't. Let's see what. So right now, you just need us to put a line of the net. What's that one that I talked about? First, like, yes. Yeah, yeah. You got it too long. You're close. You're close with that. Yeah, you can't put space. You have to put that dash. I'll get them. I'll do the slide. They look good. I like it. I mean, it's just for me. It helps. Yeah. It helps. Overall, should have that on. Yeah. I messed up there. I really want to turn. And, that's how you see it done. That's when you start to do things. Oh, because I see this. Yes, it's all just it's still can be fun, I guess. It just ain't way too bad. Because HTML, all you do is words. That's all you do is words, underlining, friendly. CSS is the same. But pretty colors, all that. So you can, but the best practice is making sure you have a separate file and just make it a extension. So especially you now with like, I mean, now you're is now that's what it is. One time. Let me make sure we are connected. So this means all, so everything in the CSS will change whatever I need. Oh, syntax. There we go. See how everything's aligned now? Yeah, I got the name on that. Oh, I guess. Alright, yeah, everything's right now. So everything does so that's how, so CSS is how you find Flexbox. see how the school code classes. So, for classes, we define. Take a function as a C++. You can use that's an example. Is this so CSS is going to put all the color, the justify content, Flexbox, HTML will be define class equals parent, and that will change the code. That's here. Or let's say we want to have it on size, we'll do paragraph, in the tag, you put class equals text, all text, and the font name, size, the font, the type of font you want. Yes. So this would be, let me show you what it looks like. Order. This will just create a border. It's not the whole thing, it's just what's called basic content. Since we only have text, only for text. Now, it won't do the height still. The height won't change. Now if we go to height, do that, yeah, and then do height. And 200 pixels, that's actually pretty good. Yeah. Cool. Now we made it even bigger. So yes, so let's say this would happen. But now I can use all the items. Sensor. Now it's in the center of that box. Bigger. Yes, yes, exactly. That's better. I would say like to say, but as you so you have a long way. Learn Flex first, then you exactly. How to do it writing each line exactly, and then CSS. CSS is a center. If you're, I showed you how to do. Anyway, what top does is top or that box down. So instead of doing see how you see how this moves with that's just fine. Yeah. So I should how do you go yeah. It's not hard to learn quickly, but it's one of the biggest foundations in coding. Yeah, one of the biggest foundations. So, I mean, if I have time, good. Oh, awesome. Awesome. How are you doing?
Not too good.
Not too good.
Yeah, they printed it out. It was fine.
As far as.
Very like, what?
So let's restart. Let's start. Let's go from the beginning to end. So, even though we don't know first.
Pronounce like that.
So, it looks like one you get looking to the right. We have two drivers over there. There's two orders. Maybe you first get the correct. Two order just where that. You go. No, it could be order. Okay, but you're right. It is only for the show. Yeah, you're right. Order on that. That's how it's coming. Well, you're already at the start. I remember I had to.
Yeah, it's not really fun and don't think about.
Do so online content. The Zoom solution is just like content.
It's like. Yeah. So it's like,
The Zoom online. I guess I. Do that. Great, okay, so let's do the way flex that's running then.
I know, it looks like.
Perfect, okay, maybe, well, we can fix the line. Okay, now flex wrap. Yes, flex wrap. It's just wrap. Do just wrap, yeah. Wrap the first half there. Okay, yeah, wrap it first. Yeah. Perfect. Now all we need to do is it looks like do column reverse. I need to column reverse. And then I know we're
Actually, yeah.
okay. Oh, it's okay, so we're still do flex or do flex or yeah.
I'm such a perfectionist, like, no reason I waited until like 2 years.
Yeah.
Allocate. I want to implement pre-orders.
Yeah. That's do they can do with how we can do with yeah, they have all those animations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why would okay. It wouldn't be, okay, so do it like, we just had there.
Just
Right, so we go.
On items. And one.
Okay, so I don't know. Sometimes I guess it looks like a broken we did this in my comments the first time. That was weird. Oh, good job, good job. We have another one.
Yeah, right now.
All right.
Still on there. I'm almost there.
Okay, all right. You're almost there.
Remember you got that. The last one.
Oh, Lord.
The yellow one, though.
Close. So close. I know you have the right. Is it one or two? One. There's one.
Uh,
Yeah. How we want to hear it? But honestly, hold on. So,
I got that. I got that. Yeah, I use post loader.
okay, yeah, but I do want to just, I want to do just, oh, wait.
I can get.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
So it's the direction with the flex and the rapid.
Yeah.
You did it. Oh, I'm so confused. Like, only has to be like, oh, I thought you needed help. I was trying to figure something else, and I looked to your right. I'm like, you're done. What am I looking at right now? Do you guys like? I'll give it like 10 more minutes. So, it's just content. We'll do it around. You need two lines, you only need two lines. You need two, two, no, you only need two, you just like.
Yeah. I don't see how like spacing and stuff. You sure? Yeah. Oh, wait, is it? Oh, yes. Oh, but I don't know what that.
Yeah. Well, I think. Actually, so maybe we spelled it wrong. We didn't realize. Yeah, that's so weird.
Honestly, though, people
I don't understand.
Can we call it? We need to call
The space between,
it.
because
There you go.
they're all the same. So that,
You solved it?
I don't know how the line, I don't know how that. Sorry. I don't know how the space between, I don't know how that's solved it.
David, he solved it.
Yeah. So we're not,
He solved it a different way.
oh.
I guess there's always different ways to solve it.
Yeah.
I guess basically it works more when we have the gap just divided. But the gap is divided automatically the part of the space for you. But
Hey. Right, you're saying that we take the front page. I can definitely draw. Maybe stack. Isn't seen that before, actually.
Oh,
Like, yeah, that was one of my projects.
I mean, yeah, if you really learn basic information with the front end, it's gonna use it.
that's.
That's how I see it.
It was. This will have.
Thanks for you. Gotcha. I think that's a.
This power noise. So, are you thinking about this app? People. Just.
Yeah. Yeah, like I was like, yeah, not an actual. Thanks. Yes, it is.
Well, that's, yeah, it's not our hackathon, but like a hackathon.
Hackathon?
Yeah, this one's kind of shady.
It's not as bad, like the index at the top.
Well, the one AI was a great masterpiece. I don't know what you were talking about. It was-
Oh, I see.
But move on to this moment, setting up code, visually got grid. Please put the order. Okay. So, you never made you get. Hi. There's two. So this is 0, 1. I think so. I don't know the exact order. We just go right on.
Yeah, it's great. Let's just do it for one. So what do you think one and two? Because they all have their orders. Okay. But it's. There's no number. Voice screen. Because you're changing the yellow. By one space. There's no regular space. No.
You act like someone, your needs just go.
No. Thank you.
All right, we're all ready to move on. Grid, bro. Grid gets a little complicated now. Grid gets a little. Oh,
I think the projector's dying. Turn it off, turn it back on.
that was weird. It was muted. It was half the video muted. It was weird. All right, so Grid. This is where we get. Let me turn off the music. So this is where it gets kind of, I'd say, pretty complicated. All right. Where's this clicker? Oh, there we go. Here we go. Now we're rolling. Here we go. All right. So Grid. The difference between the Flexbox and Grid, like I said, Flexbox is one-dimensional, so you can only control either the row or the column. Grid, on the other hand, you can control both. It's 2D. So, what is CSS Grid? It has two-dimensional control, so we can put it in the middle, down in the column section, or in the row section. Doesn't really matter. It's two-dimensional. X and Y is really being played. Precise placement, like I said, you can get really precise with how we can do a grid. And it's pretty simple, kind of activating. Same way as we did Flex, we'll do Grid. Yeah. Some pros to it. You can get really complex with it, and I'll show you a example of how complex we can really do it. But let's say we have a website, and we want to have an ad right here, you know. And then a nav bar, and then maybe a picture with some text. We can do that with Grid. That's what makes Grid, or that's how we can use Grid to make our layouts look pretty nice without doing a bunch of code as well. Built-in gaps as well. So we'll kind of go over what those mean, but pretend you have a grid. We have just a grid of 4 boxes. We can adjust the grid on each spacing by doing, I think it's grid gap. Yeah, grid gap. And let's say we want 10 pixels between each content. We can do that. Cleaner code, again, and cleaner markup for your HTML. Same with Flexbox. And again, offers a precise control over element sizing, spacing, and placement. Same thing, just kind of over. Some cons. Same with Flexbox. You don't want to overuse Grid. If it's a simple code, don't overuse it. Browser support, don't worry about that. Now, most modern day browsers use it. And it does take a little bit longer to learn Grid and Flexbox. It has a lot more elements that we can do. Again, it's 2D instead of 1D, so we kind of can see where it gets a little confusing. So basic code. This is how your CSS would look. So We have display grid, which activates, tells the parent, hey, or tells the parent to tell the child, hey, we're going to be in grid form right now. Grid template columns will be 1 by 2 by 1. That basically means we have one column like this. The next column will be twice the size, and then another column. And pretend this is the website in a way. So that's what 1 FR, 2 FR, 1 FR, that's what it means basically. One will be the same way, and then the middle one will be twice as big. Grid template rows, auto. So auto will basically mean it will auto adjust to what content will be in said row. Let's pretend automatically the row is going to be like this. But it will adjust the more content we put in. It will start small. So let's say we put a picture. That's going to get confusing. Let me erase that. But let's say we put a picture. It will automatically adjust that size. And then row 2 is 100 pixels. So no matter what, your row 2 will be 100 pixels. No matter how big the first row will get, 100 pixels will be the second row. Gap 15 pixels, which means we'll have a gap between each box slash I'm gonna call it content box, but each content box will have a little gap, so we have some spacing. And some padding and background, pretty simple stuff. Each content container, when you iterate, will have a padding of 20 pixels and a background color. I'm guessing it's black. Or no, I think that's white. I don't know. I'm not going to guess color. Color theory is a lot. Grid items will be a specific color. So each item we put into it, each child we classify grid item will have this color. Again, more color, more padding, text align center, border radius 8 pixels. As you can see, there's nothing grid. There's nothing grid about this CSS. This is just normal CSS code. Same thing with item A. Oh, well, this is where we get to more of the grid stuff. Sorry. Item A. Let's look at that. Grid column 1/3. Anyone know what span is? Span? Basically, if I say in a child, I want a span of 2. That means, and let's pretend we have this grid. This means, and no matter what, automatically when I put an item, it will go in the first grid, in the first content box. So we have this item, but span 2 will basically activate it, so we automatically go to the second part of the grid. So it stretches from the first box to the second box. When we do grid column 1/3, we're basically saying, we want to go to the first column. So first column would be here, and we want to extend it to the third column. So right here. Now you might be thinking, David, that's the second column. What are you talking about? How grid works is we count by lines. This will be 1, 2, 3. So when saying 1 to 3, we're saying we want this to stretch to the third line. So we'll only be in 2 content boxes. Same with grid row. Let me define this. Pretend there's a row right here too. 1, 2, 3. We're saying whatever content has the class item B will stretch from the first line all the way to the third line. That's what that means. Not we're going from one content box to the third content box. First line to the third line of the grid. So again, we have a grid. Row 1, 2, or not row 1, line 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tell me, I have a class with a child saying, or not a child, child saying grid, column, 1, 4, and grid, row, 2, 3. Where are we going? Someone tell me. What's that? Someone come up here and tell me where we're gonna go. Got it?
Maybe.
Come here. Let's go. Let's try it. Now go step by step. Don't overthink it. Let's just look at the first line to the second line.
Grid column is supposed to stretch out the one in placement of the others. And it's probably just going to, I guess, take away the other segments. So all the way down, just
So just draw it right now. Just draw like a how it's gonna stretch.
this all the way down to 4 and then row the way.
Very good. Yeah, I can see that bubble coming up, or that light bulb.
It's 2 to 3, then it's just stretching here. It doesn't start at 1.
Okay, you're so close. You're super close. So grid column, we're gonna count these numbers because we're going columns. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That'd be no. You're all good. All good. So try again. Yeah.
Then so if it's 1 to 4, then and then grid row 2 to 3, then it's just going to highlight the middle.
Awesome. Yeah. Perfect. So yes, he's right. This will be that image or whatever content we have. What I just shaded, that's where it will be placed. So close. Yeah. No, you did great. Yeah. You understand it?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, that's how we work with grid. That's how we get really precise with when we place things. We can really go to each box, stretch it, or go to whatever box we want to go to. This is how your HTML will look. We'll look at it into effect, but again, we have a parent grid container, and then we put the class grid item to each item we want to affect, aka the child. And then again, we use kind of a combination. We combine some classes like item A, item B to get that stretch what we were talking about right here. As you can see, we have like a specific rule. So let me show you what that code looks like. Show preview. So this is item A most likely, or item B, one of the items that we showed right here. And this is probably this is item A and this is item B, whatever. That's what Flexbox is. As you can see, we place them in certain ways we want to go, or stretched it or spanned it. The power of grid, as I should say. Now the cool thing, sorry, I'm walking back and forth, I want to draw one more thing. The cool thing about grid is, let me erase all this. The cool thing about grid we can do is define a grid, and then we can then assign that child as a Flexbox. And now we have Flexbox in a grid. So then we can do the same rules as we did in Flexbox inside a grid content box to get it centered, aligned, whatever. Depending on what you're doing, obviously. Don't overuse it, but you can basically nest grid in Flexbox. All right. Any questions about that? You understand it? Awesome. I love it. Oh, it's not dead anymore. We're in Google now. I have trouble, I guess, with this. All right. So essential properties, again, display grid initializes that grid into that parent saying, hey, every child below, every child's gonna have grid. Grid template row is gonna be the rows, the way that, again, let's say we want 1, 2 FR, 1 FR, that will say, hey, these are gonna be the columns twice as big as the other ones to my left and right. We define our rows, not our columns. That's a column. That would be good template columns. Sorry, but rows would be the same way. At 1 FR, 2 FR, 1 FR, saying, hey, we're gonna have one that's twice as big as the other one. But you don't have to use FR, which is called fractional units. I should have said something about that. We could use pixels, percentages, so 80%, 20%. Yeah, or I'm pretty sure you can use view height as well. I'm not too sure about that one actually. But yeah, pixels, percentages, and fractional units we can use. And then gap again is going to be the spaces between the column and grid. So that kind of line will define how much gap we'll have. Some item properties, grid column. We'll specify which column lines an item will start. So that will be put in a specific child, let's say like the item A, what we just did. We define where that box will be located, how far it will be spanned or stretched. Same with grid row as well. There is a shortcut. You can do grid and then type all it out in a way. So 1/3/2/3. I'm pretty sure. Again, we're gonna see the cheat sheet. I have another cheat sheet, but I'm pretty sure it goes row start, column start, and then row end, column end. So you can combine that all in one line. That's what I'm basically saying, instead of doing grid column and grid row. And we'll have an activity and a cheat sheet that shows that. Again, key takeaways, 2Ds, complementary tool. I mean, this is the same thing with the timer, right? You know, it's more responsive. You can make a website. You can use Flexbox inside a grid. It's a 2D instead of a 1D, so you can choose, instead of Flexbox, we only choose the X or the Y axis. You can choose both axes. And again, yeah, practice makes perfect. I mean, you gotta practice, you know. So some resources. Let's go on that cheat sheet. I'll go over some of them. Same website as well. Just search up CSS grid layout guide or CSS grid cheat sheet. You'll find a cheat sheet right here. A little less pictures, more words. Actually, they look a lot better on my phone than right now. I thought there was more pictures. But yeah, so we define the grid, and then grid template row. Show all this. Grid template row, grid template column. We'll decide how big we want the columns and how big we want the rows. And this is for the parent, by the way. I've specified that this is for the parent. Same thing. Oh, you have actually you can do some inline like tricks, like repeat, where if you have, it will repeat 20 pixels each column. So let's say if the screen gets bigger, it'll add more columns. So if you have like an undefined set of items in a grid, it'll just keep adding on and making that column 20 pixels while it keeps adding on. Good for like if you have like a notepad, if you're making like a notepad or something for your code. So a bunch of things you can do with that. Column start. I think I've used column start. Okay. I'm not going to go over something if I don't remember it, so I apologize. All right. So kind of, yeah, use this to your advantage. It's actually a lot. Like, see how much I didn't even realize how much there is actually for the grid. I just use kind of the basic ones that I just showed you guys, but there's a lot you can do with grid, and getting a little anxious now with what I'm looking at. Same with justify items. You can justify the items to start and center stretch. Same thing as Flexbox to get anything to center or to left right. Align items as well. XY axis would be same way it works with Flexbox. But and then just repeat justify content again. All right, yeah. So again, use a cheat sheet to your advantage. There's a lot of things you can do with grid. Like this is for helping with responsive websites. Has a great bullet points. Place self would be the same way as align self with Flexbox. I guess align self is right there too. Yeah, and grid area. Okay, so it'd be grid area. Sorry. So see that this is what I was talking about when I said grid. You could put everything in one line. It'd be grid dash area. You'd put the row start, column start, row end, column end. I remember that. Same with the grid column, grid low for your child. Yeah. So that's the website. Please use that for your advantage for this assignment or assignment. This activity. It's going to be called CSS Grid Garden. So you're going to be doing basically the same thing that we did with Flexbox, but with grid now. So yeah, get on this website. There's 28 levels. Same creator did this. I don't think we can hide hints. So don't think we can hide hints. Yeah, you can't hide hints. Try not to look at them. But close your eyes. Yeah, let's get this. Let's see what we can do. I'll be around to help again. And we can do this together. It looks like I might need a little bit of a refresher. I thought I was coming in here like, yeah, I remember grid. Let's get it. Now I look at that website. I'm like, okay, grid. Let me put some music on me now. So it's not like all the other things I have. Also, some quick SoundCloud updates. Quick SoundCloud updates. We may or may not be meeting next week. I know if there is a SoundCloud next week for this, it's not going to be me. It'll be Phil. I'll be gone for the hackathon, Show Hacks Hackathon at FIU. So while I do want this to do every week, I can't control if Phil or not posting one. But it would be most likely Bootstrap. I don't know if anyone's used it, but Bootstrap is one of the best ways to make a responsive website that has really great tools and it also has a really cool free access as well. You can copy and paste and modify it, make a website that's probably say in 30 minutes. Bootstrap is very, very powerful. I want to go over it. I wish I could do it. But I think it's full take over today. When I do come back, we will be doing Figma. We'll start Figma. It'll be a two-part kind of course. The first course will be wireframing understanding Figma, shortcuts, and I haven't really done the extra for that one, but the second one will be kind of more of the high fidelity. How do we look at a wireframe and transform it into a high quality website? And that will go over kind of color theory, white space, making sure we have a standard website page. And I would like for you guys to be prepared and look at your vendor websites, look at what you like about it, to bring it up, and we do it. Then if everything goes right, depending again if it does, it will be bootstrap the next day or after 2 parts, and then we'll do our portfolio website. We'll code it from scratch using Flexbox, Grid, Bootstrap, and just looking at our Figma high fidelity web design. How do we put it now on a code? So I'll probably go over 15 minutes. I'll have like an hour and a half to put it website. At least get it going. And then hopefully, I'm not going to promise this. We'll have an industry professional come in and rate the website. So that'll be fun. That'll be fun. I appreciate y'all sticking with me. And hope you all gain content.
No, I just.
Yeah, I just want to look. So it's get along. All right. You killed it. Sounds like no, you're all good. You're all good. No, I'd rather you get the first one. Don't worry about that. Like, do what you have to do. You can do everything. Yes, No, I don't mean to just get over your shoulder. Just,
Good.
Do you know what's trying to be, is the.
I'm not changing.
Of course.
Lost this one.
Give a slide. So, think about this, so we'll start, right? So, 1, 2, awesome, you got that, and then you need to go to 3, 4, okay. There we go.
And then row end is this one, so.
Perfect, now you just,
And then row some.
and you go through super voice.
56, but you got it. You got it. 34.
Hold on.
So, didn't really, didn't really do much of a project.
We get to like kind of test out. We're doing a assignment or course or game, which is good. I mean, it helps, but it kind of changed actually in a row. So we don't have time for this right now. And when we go home, if you guys want to do it, it's optional, obviously. But really practice on. Practice. Make a website with a nav bar, with your picture. Sorry, yeah. Make a nav bar, so a nav bar on the top with let's say a picture right here, some text, and your name right here. Just to practice Flexbox and grid at the same time. So basic website with a nav bar, a picture, your name on the right of it, and some text about yourself. Do that. If you guys do it, show it to me tomorrow. Not tomorrow, next week. Or not next week, I guess, next week. Actually, will you guys be in the general body meeting next week? Wednesday? We'll be there Wednesday, yeah? Okay, yeah, just, if you guys want to do that, show it to me Wednesday, and, yeah, just practice Flexbox and grid, at the same time. Because practice makes perfect at the end of the day, you'll forget if you don't practice, and you won't learn if you don't practice, so. Go ahead and do something simple like that, shouldn't take you too long. Yeah, so nav bar, so let's say like, home, project, new project, and, contract. Do that, but freedom, honestly, do freedom. If you want this nav bar, like the home project contact to be on the left line or the right line instead, or do whatever you guys want to do. Be free with it. Or if you want the picture on the right side and the name on the left side, do that. Don't say you have to do everything that I just put you. Do whatever you want, have fun with it. That's how you become a good creative designer. Is by having your own judgment. So, yes. Correct, actually, yeah. To also even test your CSS skills, design. I mean, that's what CSS. If you learn CSS, design it, make it look pretty. Do your best. I want to check it out. I want to see what everyone has in store. How to design it. Research that CSS cheat sheet for the grid, Flexbox, and even MDN CSS cheat sheet. Look at those. See how you can maybe even make this nav bar into a oval nav bar. Creative. And show it to me on Wednesday. See you next week. All right. So we had HTML, intro to HTML, intro to CSS, and now we're doing it. Yeah, I'm into too much. But yeah, I'm happy to I'm glad. Yeah, no worries. And do that crash course is CSS. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like the main logic is.
So my main goal is for you guys to learn everything like intro, how to make a website. So yes, ideally the end goal for this club is to make a great website, but I want to give you the tools to make, let's say, even a construction website with JavaScript and HTML, CSS, you know. But end goal here is to make a pretty website for yourself portfolio. Because at the end of the day, portfolio website is a great thing for you. True. Gotcha. Yeah. All right. So yeah, use MDN, and then HTML or CSS, and that's a great cheat sheet. Yeah. Thank you. No worries. It's apparently in the works. Not by us, but if we don't get it soon, I might. Oh, the Eagle High School is different. Yeah, we got going. But oh my gosh, so I'm gonna actually make track because this comes so heavy. You guys are at that level. Yeah. It's the same. It's the same sign. Yeah. I mean, it's only internally for the sub club, so it's only one. Just let out. Anyway, it's for the learning hub. It's gonna be boot camp for like program one, program two. They just press the the section of how like they do it. Yeah, that's it. Advertising. Again, I won't be here Thursday, so it'll be the next Thursday. I mean, it shouldn't be too hard of a project to do. Just, 5 hours. Figma is online, but you can download as well. I recommend downloading it. It just has UI. I think it does. Yeah, I think it does. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I mean, if anything, you can do the web browser. That's totally fine too. I mean, I used the web browser for a whole year, so I just realized that. All right, well. Yeah. Great. Okay.